Well, Razorback fans, it's time to bring it back. It's a Top Tuesday, and I'm going to give you the top 3 reasons why the Razorback football team will be better next year. Let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday today. I know that I want to mention this before we discuss, things that don't matter as much, but it was really nasty last night in the Northwest Arkansas area and across Western Arkansas and even North Central Arkansas with the tornadoes and the storms and devastating stuff and very scary. I was very lucky; it barely missed me and a lot of us in South Fayetteville in the downtown area, but I know there's certain areas that were not so lucky. So thoughts and prayers to everybody that's got hit by this because it's still early. I haven't seen all of the damage done, but some of the stuff I've seen has been pretty heartbreaking. So hopefully everybody has stayed safe. And just as a little PSA, I'm going to be, myself and others are going to be volunteering to try to go around to the Prairie Grove, Elkins, Goshen areas, Greenland areas, even South Fayetteville areas to try to help out anybody that needs help. So if you're one of those people that do need help, reach out to me, please, because we definitely want to help out in any way we can. We'll let the first responders and everybody do their job, of course. We won't interfere with that, but we definitely want to help out. So, again, thoughts and prayers with everybody that has been going through that because it's devastating, man, and it's scary. So, but I did want to go ahead and jump into a topic that I'm sure everybody's going to 100% be on board with and agree with, and not have any issue with me even discussing it or anything like that. It's about the Razorback football team. And I used to do this, and I pretty much do it every time when things start to slow down a little bit, of like a Top Tuesday where I mention the top 3 reasons as to why, or top 3 things, or whatever it may be. And when I had it out here to say the top 3 reasons why the Hogs will be better next season in football, or this season in football, I want to reiterate this just like I always do. That does not mean that they will for sure be better, that I'm even going to predict them to be better as a full-fledged team. I am just saying these are the top 3 reasons why they could be better. And what you could point to, what you could look at, what you could make you have some hope and some faith in this. And I've took a little bit of time to research this and try to figure it out because there's not a whole lot there, just to be honest. There's not a whole lot there to be able to know one way or the other of what people are going to be doing and feeling about as far as this team goes. But these are in no particular order as well. It's not like a ranking of 1, 2, 3. It's just 3 reasons, generically speaking, as to why. And I wanted to be a little bit positive today because I know we'll talk a little bit about baseball and all the awards that they have, as well as Wehiva Aloy and what he's been able to do. But I wanted to start with these top 3 reasons. And I'll go with reason number 1 for me, the offensive line. Now, the offensive line 2 years ago was one of the worst offensive lines you've ever seen in Razorback football history. It was one of the worst offensive lines in the conference even. And it was really tough to really think about like how it's going to get any better. Like what could you point to make you feel like it's going to get better? And there wasn't a whole lot there. But then they made a lot of changes as far as a coach. They brought in a lot of new transfers like Fernando Carmona, Addison Nichols got brought into there. Keyshawn Blackstock was also involved there. Just brought in quite a few new faces. And they were trying to make it look like, at least, that they were trying to go to the right direction. And I was pretty excited about it. And to be honest, the offensive line last year, pretty solid. I'm not going to sit here and say it was the best offensive line ever, but it was pretty solid. However, you lost a few of your offensive linemen, and it wasn't necessarily because of graduation. I think that losing Josh Braun was a pretty big loss, just to be honest. I was a big Josh Braun fan. I felt like he got better as the years went on, and he ended up transferring to Kentucky. I don't know, what particular reasons that there are. Maybe it was an NIL thing. Maybe it was just a fit. Maybe it was Just time to make a change, whatever it was. It's what he decided. And so I was really bummed to see him move on because I felt like he could really do some good here at Arkansas, especially in his third year at Arkansas. And instead, he moved on. But wish him nothing but the best. Addison Nichols, I actually liked. I really liked Addison Nichols. I didn't feel like he was a guy that you wanted to see leave, although there were some struggles there. And of course, I forgot to mention Patrick Kudus. That might be the biggest loss. You didn't really have him a whole lot last season until the end of the year, and then even though he apparently swore to Pittman he wasn't going to transfer, he ended up transferring and going to Ole Miss. So you probably see all that, and you're like, what in the world? Well, John, how in the world do you feel like you're going to be better in the offensive line category when you're losing a lot of these players? Well, because to me, it's a matter of who you brought in, who you have, because you still have Fernando Carmona, which I think was the biggest addition to have a year ago, and I still believe it's a very strong addition now. So having him has been huge, as well as Corey Robinson, the transfer from Georgia Tech. I interviewed him on Inside Arkansas Live. He was a great interview, and you can tell that he's got a lot of promise to him. He's 6'5", 307 pounds. It's his final year. He started at Kansas, was at Georgia Tech, had a really nice season, and I'm going to be really excited to see what he's going to be able to provide at the offensive line, and we'll see what position some of these guys will play at, because those cross-training things, it always happens a little bit differently, and they always move all around. But I'm really excited to see what he'll be able to add into the mix. So you have him, and then you throw in also having Keyshawn Blackstock back. Is he going to be improved from a year ago? He struggled, he really did, but there was obviously a lot of potential there, and I think that Sam Pittman and Eric Mateo saw it. So we'll see what type of impression that he makes. Marion Harris is another guy that got a lot of playing time last year. You got him back. People are excited about Shaq McCrory because he's the one transfer from Oregon. I know he's going to be a redshirt freshman, so still really young, but he's a big old dude. It's 6'8", 362 pounds. Needless to say, that's a good-sized man when it comes to the offensive line. So you'll have that. But either way, I think that there is potential to have an offensive line that will be just as good, if not better, than what it was a year ago because of the depth. You added also a few other key position groups or key guys at key positions too when you're trying to help out, the center position, when you're trying to help out, like a Caden Kittler, for instance. He played center at UCF. Is he going to be the center? We'll see, but he at least has experience in a major conference to make that happen. So I feel like the offensive line, potentially with all of it going on, can be just as good, if not better, because it's about being up. And honestly, offensive line, as we all know, it starts there. And if they have a good offensive line, then the rest of it will kind of fall into place. So I really like that. That's my biggest reason, honestly, if I'm being forefront about it, because I feel like there's going to be plenty of things there that you can look forward to. But the other reason I want to say that Arkansas is going to be good, and this one's a pretty obvious one, is Taylen Green. Now, some people like Taylen Green, some people don't. Some people have talked about reports from Taylen Green, reports about Taylen Green that a lot of the wide receivers left because of Taylen Green, which was a falsehood. It was not true. But anytime that you're able to have your starting quarterback, especially one who is as effective as Taylen Green was last year, it's always going to be vastly, vastly important. Because I feel like anytime that you have an athlete like him who can beat you with his legs, he's going to have another year of development. He's going to have another year of understanding the system. He's going to have another year of fitting in with the culture and being the true leader. It's not like this is his first year stepping in, and he's got to be meshing well with everybody out of the jump. It's more of the opposite this time around, where he's the old guard. He's the guy that's been around forever, and a lot of these players are going to have to adjust to him and his leadership. He can really untap that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. And if you have somebody to that caliber that can really help you out with a good offensive line in front of him, I think that there can be a lot of promising plays made, and honestly, one of those guys that can really improvise in a major way, do some really nice things, and be able. He's got to stay healthy though. That's the most important thing. But being able to run around, being able to make plays, as we saw so many times last year. It's not to say he was perfect, because he did miss some, but there are definitely some good positive things about him coming back for Arkansas. And finally, the other reason is about the coordinators for me. You were able to retain both of your coordinators in Bobby Petrino as your offense coordinator, as well as your defense coordinator in Travis Williams. Now, everybody knows how much I adore Bobby Petrino. I think he is literally one of the best coaches that Arkansas has ever had in their football history. I still believe he has a lot of greatness in him when it comes to calling an offense and putting together an offense, because he did such a great job last year from where Arkansas was to where they were with a bunch of new players. Arkansas had one of the more effective offenses in the SEC when it was all said and done, as far as statistically speaking. And I think that anytime that, again, you have another year of Petrino with development and culture and all of that, it's going to work out perfectly for you. So I really like him. But Travis Williams, too, I think is really underrated. I was surprised to see him stick around, not because I thought he was going to get fired, but because I thought he'd want to move on and get another job, a head coaching job, because he's got all the things that you want to see from a coach like him. He could be able to energize people. It seems like the players really like playing for him. He had his linebackers, his key linebackers at least, stay on the team this time around, which is huge. And it seems like he's always done a little bit more with less. Now we'll see what he can do without having Landon Jackson on the team. We can see what he'll do without missing a few pieces from secondary guys that were seasoned veterans and whatnot. But I think him, especially with the combo of Marcus Woodson, because I've been a huge fan of him too, that this defense can still hold their own. And I still like at least knowing what to expect. We'll see if the talent can mesh with it. Because, again, they got a lot of new faces in there. But I at least believe in him. I at least believe in Travis Williams being a solid defensive coordinator that can really do some good things. So there you have it. How about that? Top 3 reasons why I believe Arkansas will be better next season than what they were a year ago. Not saying they will. Just saying that they could be, should be, maybe. I don't know. It's fun to talk about it, though, isn't it? We will talk something else that's fun, and that's an SEC Player of the Year. We'll do that on the other side of the break, so stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways to play than ever and play smart and to win big. So you got to find out who's going to be showing up, who's the players that have been most consistent for you. Would you like it to look like a combined of live prop bets mid-game to show on how the action unfolds? Or if you've got a read on who's heating up, why not back it up with the same game parlay? How could a $200 bonus in bets add to the excitement of your first $5 bet? Well, you tell me, because the last time I checked, $200 is a lot more than $5, and that's what you got. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Shout out Wehiva Aloy, man. I've felt like he's been the best shortstop in Razorback history kind of during this season. And some people maybe took exception to that, or maybe said that there were some other players worthy of mention, which is fine. I mean, you want to argue it, that I'm not going to argue back with you during that time. But now it's really hard to make that argument because it was announced yesterday that Wehiva Aloy has been named the 2025 SEC Baseball Player of the Year. Crazy enough, he's only the second Razorback to ever be Player of the Year. Isn't that wild? Andrew Benintendi was the other one in 2015. Kevin Kopps did not win SEC Player of the Year, which I don't know, it just always rubbed me the wrong way when a guy wins the Golden Spikes but doesn't win Player of the Year in his own conference. It seems a little weird, but I guess it was just the type of position he played. But either way, he was able to get down that award, which is awesome. And by the way, for those of you, I keep forgetting to bring this up, that Wehiva, his first name means the prized one, which is great because that's exactly what he is. He has been awesome this season. In 55 games, he is batting .358, which is not too bad last time I checked. 18 home runs, which is tied for ninth most in a season by a Razorback, and 58 RBIs while pacing the SEC in runs scored and in base hits. He's number one there. And he's only just a junior. He started every game at shortstop. And not only is he great at offense, but he's also been great at defense too, folks. Have you seen some of the plays he's made? He has been awesome. He's been 2-time SEC Player of the Week this season. He's also a Golden Spikes Award semifinalist. We'll see if he actually ends up getting that chance. But either way, .358 batting average, .677 slugging percentage, and on base plus slugging 1.117. I mean, runs scored, doubles, home runs, extra base. I mean, it just names the stats, and the dude's leading it on the team, and he has just been phenomenal. He's been absolutely phenomenal. So it's awesome. Like I just think back to some of the players that Arkansas has had in their previous history and how great they've been. And he's definitely worthy of being in the conversation. I don't know if he'll win the Golden Spikes. I really don't. But it'd be cool if he did. And then it would really start the conversation of, all right, of the 3 Golden Spikes award winners, who was the best of them between Kevin Kopps, between Andrew Benintendi, and between Wehiva Aloy. I think some people would vote one way, some people may vote the other. But either way, we'll cross that bridge when it happens. Arkansas definitely got the most out of Wehiva Aloy. And I remember, honestly, when this guy was coming into college at Arkansas, I had been hearing about him from actually some baseball players. They were talking about how incredible he was. And then there was a lot of interest surrounding him because, he's from Hawaii. And, he was a guy that was built. Like he's a big guy and was talking about his hitting prowess and how incredible he was and all of that. And we didn't get to really see it as much his first year at Arkansas. The team in general just didn't hit very well. He was one of them. And I wouldn't say it was a disappointment, but it was definitely like, it's not what you were hoping to see. Well, this season, definitely, it lived up to what we were hoping to see. It lived up to what we were all hoping to get out of a guy like Wehiva Aloy, where, again, the numbers speak for themselves, and he started every game. And he's been doing it every game. And you know what's crazy, too, is this includes a stretch just recently where he went 0 for 11, where he wasn't hitting the ball very well. And there was a time where he was close to batting 400. So, listen, he's deserving of it. He's a very quiet guy. He had a speech that he gave once Van Horn announced that he was SEC Player of the Year, and just very humble, talked about his teammates, everything. He's going to make a lot of money in the majors. And it couldn't happen to a better player, and I'm hoping that there can be some greatness that can come from it as well. But either way, congratulations to Wehiva Aloy, SEC Player of the Year, the greatest Razorback shortstop of all time, and hopefully it all ends for him in a College World Series title. That's the hope, at least. But he wasn't the only Razorback that got some awards. Some other Razorbacks got their accolades too, so let's talk about that next here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. We mentioned Wehiva Aloy winning SEC Player of the Year. There were some other awards that were given out to some Razorbacks, and very much deserving to all of them, as like Kuhio Aloy, for instance, who is Wehiva Aloy's little brother. He was also first-team All-SEC as the DH. He was a sophomore this year, and in his first season at Arkansas, which is great because Arkansas gets him again next season, he batted .345 this season, had 13 home runs, and a team-leading 68 RBIs, 3 shy of cracking the program's single-season top 10 list through 51 games this year. You also had Charles Davalon, who was first-team All-SEC as an outfielder, the guy from Canada. He tied Wehiva Aloy with team and base hits, as well as emerged as one of college baseball's best leadoff batters, where he was slashing a .353. I mean, this is incredible. He was from Florida Gulf Coast, by the way. But he had .353, 13 home runs. To me, he's one of the best leadoff hitters Arkansas's had, and he has definitely showed out and showed it as good as you could ask. On the pitcher's mound, though, you also had Zach Root, first-team All-SEC, as a starting pitcher. Isn't that crazy that sometimes you think about some of these pitchers that Arkansas has, and you're like, oh, man, they're not playing well, or, oh, man, they don't look as good. And then you got something like this where this guy's just like, I'm first-team All-SEC still, though. That's what I'm doing. Like, just, again, incredible. After he transferred from ECU, he's got a 4.14 ERA, team leading 102 strikeouts and 75 innings of work. He was the SEC Pitcher of the Week twice this year, and also had team high 5 quality starts. He's a junior. I don't think he's going to be coming back next season, but it'd be pretty cool if he did. And then Cam Kojal also landed second team All-SEC as a first baseman. He was a guy who started his collegiate career over at Vanderbilt. We all remember that when Arkansas went over to Nashville and took care of business and how good he looked in that. But he batted .335 this year, 12 home runs, 55 RBIs this season, and also had 41 runs batted in against conference opponents, which is always a lot more of a key ingredient there, is what he was able to do. But that was it. Yeah, as far as Arkansas goes, they had nobody on the freshman team. I was a little surprised to see they had no one on the all-defensive team. I feel like Arkansas's defense has been really good. In fact, if you look at some of the stats, they've been one of the leaders in the SEC in defense in a lot of statistical categories. So to not have a single one was pretty crazy. But they gave the shortstop. I thought Wehiva Aloy would be the one that would get it, if anybody, but they gave that one to Justin LeBron over there at Alabama. So I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend that I know all about that and then Wehiva Aloy got screwed, but I'm just going to assume that he did because, I'm a Razorback fan and that's what I do. So either way, a lot of accolades coming in for the Razorback baseball team and much deserving of it. So let's hope that it translates. Let's hope that it means something here in the postseason play. Let's hope they get it done that way too. But appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Neighbors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.